Sometimes it feels like gamers just can't win, especially in the modern era where agendas being pushed, propaganda being propped up there, and we have journalists that are activists at the end of the day that have finagled their way into an industry that, let's be honest, they don't even care about the games that they're covering. As long as they're able to insidiously inject themselves into this industry, that's all they care about, because with that, they can push their message. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And the other day, I was researching information for this crazy hit piece from the New York Times that was in conjunction with Ubisoft and interviewing ex-employees of Sweet Baby Inc., but not disclosing that. And of course, hating on gamers, because that's what they always do. They target and attack people that want their games to be free of all this BS. But at the end of the day, that's not what's happening, and the truth is getting out there, and it is burning all these people inside. They can't stand it. But regardless, while I was researching this character, Kazuma Hashimoto, the rabbit hole went deep. Like I said in that video, I couldn't believe just how much information I uncovered with it. One of those things was a Twitch stream from this ex-employee that he didn't think anybody would find. Apparently, he's not familiar with how I research things. I am extremely thorough because I want to make sure I get the story right. Oh, and if I ever do mess up, I'd like to think I come forward and say, hey, I messed up on that. I want to do better next time. I feel like a lot of these activists that pose as journalists could learn a thing or two from that. But I digress. In this Twitch stream, he had acknowledged that not just how Sweet Baby Inc. was a former employer, not just that he didn't work on Assassin's Creed Shadows, yet was being used as a source for the New York Times, and also how he was a contractual worker for over 3 years at Sweet Baby Inc. But most importantly, the biggest takeaway that I got from it was that he is being impacted now in future employment opportunities and has to leave Sweet Baby Inc. off the resume, because if employers found out that he worked there, they wouldn't want to hire him. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full exhaustive article going through this Twitch stream that this Kazuma Hashimoto didn't think anybody was going to locate.
We're going to be playing Spotify over today's entire stream once I swap to World of Warcraft, so it gets hit with copyright audio, or I'm just going to delist it because I don't want to deal with the repercussions of someone finding this Twitch channel and then linking it to me and just having a bad time because of it. I doubt it will happen because I was not super candid about any of that, which is good. I'm glad that I did that because I wouldn't want people coming to my Twitch stream anyways. That's part of why I did this rebrand in the first place.
The information I found on this stream gives us a clear picture of just how the tides are shifting in the favor of gamers, and the industry professionals are starting to push back against DEI-driven narratives that have been insidiously seeping into game development over the past few years. During that Twitch stream, Hashimoto begrudgingly discussed his struggle to find work after his stint at Sweet Baby Inc. He struck me as a fairly tepid individual that definitely suffers from some severe mental issues, which he acknowledges himself on the stream, or herself. I'm not even sure about that one, but regardless of that, this person is definitely dealing with a lot of demons inside of them.
I'm getting by. Last night was bad. I'm currently in the middle of a depressive episode. I have bipolar disorder, so I go up and down pretty frequently.
That just sets the stage for other things he talks about this, and it's about a 15-minute or so rant where he goes in and out of talking about what Sweet Baby Inc. has done, how it has impacted his life in a negative way, and kind of giving the mantra of wishing that he never worked there in the first place, but at the same time also kind of confused about life in general and just kind of aimless with a direction.
I've done consultant work under Sweet Baby Inc. and I've written for Polygon and IGN, and those are apparently the 3 big alt-right flags. Well, I can say that I didn't do any consultation work on Assassin's Creed Shadows. The stuff I did with Sweet Baby, I probably will never be able to talk about just because of the way that game development works. So Yeah, it's really, really weird.
When he starts talking about how Sweet Baby Inc. is negatively impacting his search for work, I think it really starts to expose exactly the main problem with the game industry and how it's starting to finally, naturally work itself out.
Just so you guys do know, like, there are definitely jobs that I've had where, like, people have seen, like, the fact that I've worked for Sweet Baby, and it's been, like, a year since I've even worked with them. And it's just on, like, a contractual basis when I was, so, like, just periodically for, like, a couple of years. People will literally be like, hey, are we gonna get harassed for hiring you? And I think that really sucks. That instead of being like, we'll protect our employee, the employer or potential person giving you the contract will be more concerned about that than protecting their employees.
Now, this is an interesting quote because it flies directly in the face of what our good friend Kim Belair was saying about how they aren't taking anything seriously and none of this is impacting Sweet Baby Inc. And they're just going about their business and it's just noise and they're just ignoring it because they have their jobs there and they have these companies. These companies don't care about all the noise from the YouTubers. They're just going along, making their games, and completely failing every time one of them releases.
Annoying is a very good word for it because largely it doesn't materially affect our work, right? The vast majority of these companies already know what's going on and they still hire us. They know what we actually do and it doesn't necessarily change our baseline survival, but it does change the comfort level with which we can exist in online spaces.
But of course, Kim Belair is going to say that because it behooves her to. I mean, obviously, she's not going to say, holy crap, everything's impacting us and our business is failing, because then she wouldn't be able to try to find new work, because companies would realize, oh, wait, that is bad. We probably shouldn't associate with any of these consultancy groups. So they're going to ignore the flames in their building in the background and just pretend everything's hunky-dory in hopes that they can continue to pull the wool over the eyes of more developers in the future.
Do employers know the law is on their side? It's, well, the thing is, like, I don't think there are many places that will take retaliatory actions other than, like, Bungie did it. But Bungie's it's a mess of a company, but they absolutely went to bat for their employees at one point. And when you're a contractor, they're not obligated to. That's the thing. I'm not like a full-time employee or anything. So it's just kind of like, he did a thing. Okay, we wash our hands of it, you know? It sucks. It really sucks.
But developers are becoming extremely cautious and realizing that the agenda-driven narratives in these consultancy groups aren't even a necessity. They were worried about being canceled before if they didn't work with them. And as the times have changed and the pendulum started swinging back, now they're worried about being canceled if they do.
A couple of months ago, the New York Times actually got in touch with me to ask me about Assassin's Creed, in which I was like, yeah, reception's honestly like kind of positive. And a lot of the comments you'd see under videos were like straight up like Google Translate comments.
And then Hashimoto starts going into talking about how he never worked on Assassin's Creed Shadows, but yet for some reason, the New York Times used him as the source of truth for something that he was completely fabricating lies about how apparently people in America and around the world were making up fake accounts to try to impact online interactions in Japan. Like, sure, I'm sure a couple or a few people were doing it, but the way Hashimoto is talking about it is like, no, it's not an issue at all in Japan. That was all people in America just trying to cosplay as Japanese people to make this a bigger issue than it really was.
And like people are like annoyed with some of the inconsistencies and issues in Shadows, which is like, you know, the buildings and stuff being wrong or certain clothing and whatnot, right? Or the fact that the art team basically stole a sign from a reenactment troupe in Japan. That's actually like pretty common because when you're working with such a large team of artists, you well, sometimes they're just sort of given the direction to Google things and people make mistakes.
Takeaways from this Twitch stream were pretty strong, where it feels like not only is this person suffering from severe mental issues and probably some trauma that happened at some point in their life, but that doesn't even matter here or there. The bigger issue is they're taking that with them as baggage and bringing it on board to other companies. And these developers used to be like, yeah, sure, we'll be inclusive and bring you into it. And then realizing after the fact that by doing that, you're actually excluding real gamers that want real game experiences and don't want them to be ruined by someone that doesn't really care about gaming. As it got uncovered in my previous video about this Hashimoto character, they're not a gamer. They're not even a journalist. They are a self-proclaimed activist. Of course they are, because just like all these other journalists out there in the game industry, they have an agenda and propaganda and a narrative they want shoved out there. And they will do whatever it takes to get there. And then, when it all comes crashing down on them, they go and cry, saying, oh, everyone's so mean to me. No one understands me. Everyone just wants everything to be bad. And I just want things to be good out there. Because the reality is, once they get exposed, they go to the same result every time. Protected mode. Cry to everyone about how everyone's so mean. Oh, I'm getting death threats and all these awful things are happening to me. Instead of facing reality and saying, what I'm doing and where I'm working at probably isn't the place I should be. And actually acknowledging that firsthand and getting your ass out of that industry and somewhere else where you might actually be happier. But then again, by doing that, you can't push your message and your agenda and your narrative. And that, at the end of the day, is all you want to do. And this right here, this Twitch stream that I found, exposes all of that. And I, for one, am so grateful to see that the game industry is starting to recognize that Sweet Baby Inc. and similar consultancy groups are not needed, not wanted, and should be shut down immediately. And the whole game industry will be so much better when that glorious day comes. I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full exhaustive article on it. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
I also I also recently watched a friend kind of go down the quote-unquote anti-DEI pipeline, and it really sucked because what he was talking about was just him having a problem with modern art direction and just bad character design, and it's just man.